Hello again, everyone. It's Kat. Welcome to the first real episode, I suppose, of our Summoner's War account. We will be doing a free-to-play account here on the global server. Feel free to add me as a friend. I don't have any friends yet. We'll talk about making friends on Summoner's War, why it's important, and how you can do it in a little while. This early in the game, all we have done is basically go through the beginning parts of the in-game tutorial, and we have gone through a couple of the little areas in scenario, which you'll see sped up in the background of this video. This early in the game, basically it plays itself. The game is going to give you monsters to work with. I do not recommend summoning anything additional right now. It's just not necessary, and it is going to start to clog up all of your slots in the game. Focus on the couple of monsters that you have and just getting through scenario. You really need the runes from scenario in order to make your monsters useful. You will be able to put different types of runes on different types of monsters to hopefully create the most powerful version, or maybe not necessarily the most powerful, but a version of that monster that's going to work well in the team that you create for it. Team composition is going to be very important, but again, that's something we don't have to worry about quite this early. For now, just follow the prompts in-game as you go. The game does a pretty good job nowadays of kind of guiding you through the beginning and some of your early goals. When I first started playing this game years and years ago, there was really no guide or anything to kind of tell you what to do. You just kind of had to figure it out as you go. But now the game is pretty good about showing you what each of your little goals are going to be. So as you progress through scenario, you may notice that there are 3 modes that you could be playing on. There is normal, I think it's hard and hell are the 3, normal, hard, and hell modes. Just worry about getting through scenario in normal mode for now. The runes that you get from scenario right now are useless. Well, that's not true. They are going to be worthless to you in only a few short hours of gameplay, but for now, just put them on whatever monsters you have, which will probably be the same ones that I have, if I recall correctly. I think you always have these same 4 monsters to start. Just stick runes on them. It doesn't really matter. We are going to write over these runes later, and we're going to engrave over them. That way we're not paying to remove them. You can power them up, but only to complete your daily challenges. So every day there will be dailies to complete. One of those is going to be power up a rune 3 times. I highly recommend that you only power up 1 rune right now when you're at this stage in the game in order to complete that daily event, and you only power it up to 3. Once you power it up to 3, just go to a different rune, or maybe power 1 up to 6 if you happen to have something that gives you a lot of extra speed that you need, or something along those lines. But don't waste a lot of mana powering these runes up. They're not going to be useful long term, I absolutely promise you. You just want to be able to collect the rewards from powering them up. So runes will drop from each individual level of scenario, and you will also get a 4-star set from the Aiden Forest once you beat that. I would suggest that you choose the energy set from Aiden, because you will be able to use that pretty early in your Summoner's War journey here for your first Giants team. Giants is an area of the game that is just below scenario in the Kairos dungeon. That will pop up relatively early for you as something that you've unlocked after the first few areas of scenario. You'll need some strong energy runes for that. These are not very strong because they're only 4-star runes, but they're better than nothing, obviously. You're also going to get a drop of runes from Charuka, When you get those, they're going to be 5-star runes, and I suggest that you choose the Blade set. Those are going to be useful when you have your first farming monster, which you're going to need really soon. Your first farming monster should ideally be a water type, because you're going to want to farm the Feynman Volcano level 1 or 3. I think one of those two is the best. When we get to that point, I'll be sure to research that a little bit. So I would highly suggest choosing the Blade runes for that monster that you will be using for that. The Water Magic Knight is going to be the best option most of the time this early, unless you get incredibly lucky with scrolls, which I'm not even going to summon anything this early. I'm just going to focus on what I have for now until I need something. So for now, just work your way through scenario with the monsters that you have. You will hit a sticking point eventually, and once we get to that point in this game, I will show you what I am going to do in order to progress past that sticking point. A couple more side notes before I say goodbye for now. You are going to have the opportunity to start participating in the arena relatively soon, pretty early actually, I think after the second or third area in the scenario. I would recommend that you go in there and you just try to farm as many coins as you can. You will need these to buy towers and buildings from the store really soon, and you will also need them to buy Devilmons, which are easily the most valuable resource in the game. Start farming those coins from arena as soon as you can. If you lose and it hurts your ranking, it really doesn't matter right now. In fact, you want your ranking to be pretty low for now so that you can hopefully fight people who are also newer to the game, or people who have essentially a farming defense set up where they just have really weak monsters so that they can keep their own ranking low and continue to farm coins. Trust me, farm as many coins as you can. You're absolutely going to need them. The first loss that I have experienced so far is actually at the boss of this stage. It's coming up right here, and this is Mount White Ragoon. I'm not sure how to say that, but this boss is the first time that we have lost. We already lost our Hellhound before we even got to the boss stage. The boss is able to freeze us and take us out, which is unfortunate, but totally fine. Losing here is going to trigger the game to unlock the hard mode of the previous area. It's going to pop up right here. We're going to say no, we don't want to waste our crystals on reviving. So our little guide, Elia here, is going to ask us if we want to go get runes, and now we can go to Mount Sis and we can start farming some runes in the hard mode there. I have also received some runes from clearing scenario as rewards from the game. You can definitely use these on some of your monsters if you'd like to. I would be really careful not to write over any of the better runes that you receive from here. You don't want to engrave over them. We also got a monster, this light Garuda, and I think he's going to be pretty useful for us. I haven't used him in the past, so I'm not 100% sure how to use him well. If you go to the info tab, you can click monster info and you can see how other people have chosen to use the monster, where it's useful, how they've chosen to rune their monster. So I'll check in here really quick and just see what kinds of runes people are recommending for him. It looks like people are saying to put him on Fatal and Energy. I don't have awesome runes to give him right now for energy. Actually, I don't have any energy runes to give him right now. So I will end up sticking some Fatal runes on here that are pretty decent, especially this early in the game. This early in the game, they're awesome. But they're decent for a little while. And if I decide at some point that I do not want him to have these runes anymore, I will take them off. I'll just auto engrave because it's going to be a little bit easier for me. My Hellhound is also going to reach his max level very soon, and I do want to raise him to 3 stars. The way that you increase a monster's star value is essentially by feeding it monsters of that same value. So because our hellhound is 2 stars, I need to feed him 2-star monsters once he hits his max level in order to level him up to a 3-star monster. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon, and otherwise I'm just going to kind of play through scenario, spend some time in arena, and complete a couple of the quests that the game has instructed me to complete so that I can get some experience on my team, and also so that I can farm some resources and some runes. It's going to be relatively easy to defeat the boss where we got stuck before once we have better runes and once our hellhound is a little bit stronger, so we'll probably start our next episode with that. For now, really all we're doing is following the in-game guide, and if you follow the guide in-game, everything will be pretty straightforward until we finish scenario. Once we get to the point that we are working in the dungeons, and once we get to the point that we are trying to create some speed teams or maybe some rift beasts, which is way later in the game, it's going to be a lot more involved. There's going to be a lot more planning on our part and a lot more decision making, a lot more team building. For now, this early in the game, really all we have to do is do what the game tells us to do. If you happen to see any events, it's great to participate in them. You'll get free stuff, and make sure you do your daily tasks. I will finish as much of scenario as I can and then come back and we will pick up in the next episode. So I'll see you guys soon, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Bye for now.